Frank, it's time for the show. And Frank, let's roll 'em. Welcome to Anatomy of an Entrepreneur. We are here in the show. I don't know if you saw the pre-show, but it was kind of fun. We had a member of my instant office come barging in and interrupt the pre-show, which is fine. It's all part of live streaming. We're going to be raising his rates. We have some housekeeping. What are you laughing at? We have some housekeeping to get through before we start the show. By the way, this show is called Anatomy of an Entrepreneur, and our goal is to show that virtually anybody with the right tools, the right guidance, and drive can be a successful entrepreneur. That is the truth. And we prove it over and over and over again, every week, every time we have a guest. We have a really great guest tonight, but let's hold on first. First of all, this show is sponsored by my instant office. You know, Lori, if you need to get a cubicle, a chair, a desk for a day, a week, or a month, come on, sit down, and get to work. All we say is you just add yourself. Oh yeah, they also have at my instant office, there's conference rooms and closed offices. You know, when I was a kid, we used to watch all the Mets games, and I always feel like I'm going to go into the beginning of the Mets game whenever I start talking like that. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, Fairfield County Plymouth dealer, and by RC Cola. RC Cola, easy on the syrup, easy on the gas, and by Rheingold. Rheingold, extra dry.
How do you remember stuff like that?
I don't know.
It's weird.
That's a lot of baseball games right there.
Yeah. And also, this show is sponsored by the Huntington Chamber of Commerce. Lori,
Yes.
did you know that the Huntington Chamber of Commerce is the largest chamber of commerce on Long Island?
I do know that.
Oh.
Sorry.
And I was once having a conversation with the Associate Director of the Huntington Chamber of Commerce, Courtney Bino. I said, Courtney, I need some kind of a statement from you to say on the show. Lori, do you know what she said?
She said...
Here's what you say, Cliff.
You say, the Huntington Chamber of Commerce is the best darn Chamber of Commerce in the world.
That's what she says.
That's what she says.
Yep. So if you need to grow your business, you need to get involved in the Huntington Chamber of Commerce. That being said, and I really don't like that statement, that being said, it's overused. We have on somebody who I actually have been wanting to have on for a long time. I actually got in touch with you a year ago, but maybe you didn't see the email, and I just figured I'd try again. I also got in touch with your boss. He never even replied. I'm not hurt. But we have on the president of the Long Island Ducks. This is so cool because it's so local and they're such like a staple to our community. We have on here with us Michael Thaff. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cliff. Wonderful to be here. I didn't know that you sent an email to my wife. You said that you sent an email to my boss to get on the show. Is that what happened?
No, it was Jim Bolton?
Frank Bolton.
Frank Bolton.
Yes.
That's who I sent it to.
Okay.
Unless you're married to Frank.
No, I'm not. Some might say, but no. Frank is the founder and CEO of the Ducks and of the Atlantic League.
Yeah.
And very busy man.
Wait, so, and I thought I read this too. He's the founder of the Ducks and also the founder of the Atlantic League?
That's correct.
Does he own both?
No, the Atlantic League was founded. Frank was an owner of multiple affiliated minor league baseball teams, and there was talk of one of the affiliates that he owned, which was a Yankee affiliate up in Albany Colony, coming to Suffolk County, and the owners voted against bringing that team to Long Island. And Frank said, you know, I'm not going to be deterred by this, roadblocking us from getting baseball to Long Island, because that was his dream. He grew up in Bayshore and wanted to bring professional baseball to Long Island. So he said, in order to not be governed by Major League Baseball's rules, I'm going to create our own league, a boutique league fashioned after the old Pacific Coast League of the 50s, where you know, playing free agents came to play, big names, and you know, showcase themselves for major league clubs. And we're going to build a ballpark and not be governed by those rules and run the business the way we want to run it.
That takes a lot of guts.
He is a man with a lot of courage.
It
There's no
really, it
question.
takes
Yeah,
a lot
no,
of guts to do.
absolutely.
That's like, because it wasn't done for 50 years, and now he's saying, you know what, I'm going to do this again. That's
It's great vision, yeah.
yeah, it's great vision, great guts, and persistence, obviously.
Absolutely.
Which are all entrepreneurial traits. But I want to talk about the Ducks, but I also want to talk about you, because at the tender young age of in your 30s, you became a 40 under 40, which means you've obviously been on a great trajectory, and now here you are, the president of the Ducks, a very well-respected team on Long Island. I want to start with when you were like a little kid, and I think we might even have a picture that we found. No, younger. Yep. Yeah. Michael, who is that?
That's a kid that likes having fun right there. Riding that bicycle with the number 3. It's Bud Harrelson's number, by the way. Good-looking bike.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Manhasset.
You did?
There's a picture in my driveway there.
That's not Muncie Park, is it?
No, that's Plandome.
Oh, you grew up in Plandome.
Yeah, so it's
I know that area very well.
great place to bike ride around, Plandome Road, go see your friends.
What were you like as a little kid?
I just enjoyed having fun. I mean, if it didn't have anything to do with sports or music or my friends, I wasn't interested. And I grew out of that when I was like 37. So, you know, it's been a long ride.
So, you're growing up in Manhasset. Did you go to the public schools there?
I went to both public and private. I went to Shelter Rock in elementary and then went to St. Paul's in Garden City.
Yeah, sure. I know both of them. So, were you a kid that, like, did you have a vision of what you wanted to do at all at a young age, or did you want to play sports? Do you know you wanted to be in sports?
Yeah, the only things that really interested me were sports and music, and you know, playing with my friends and being involved in sports. So whether it was football, which I enjoyed the most playing, basketball, baseball, lacrosse, you know, I just wanted to be playing as much as possible and out having fun. You know, played every season, every sport that I could, and just, you know, gobbled up as much action as I could.
Right. So, here's what I'm hearing, that you had a passion from a young age.
Sure.
So you knew you had this passion, and you also stuck with it. You never let it go, did you? Did you ever
Absolutely
do-
not. No. You know, it's I was never super interested in the book portion of school, and that was something that only came later on with maturity. And you know, that puts you behind a little bit, not having that foundation from younger years. You know, not paying as much attention as maybe
Yeah.
you should. But you know, I remember my father got me a book when I was you know, clearly not paying enough attention in school, and it said, "Do what you love, and the money will follow."
Right.
And it was all about just kind of focusing on your passions. And I
Right.
knew that, you know, sports was ultimately the field that I wanted to be in. So I started to focus more on colleges that had sports management majors.
Right.
And you know, there weren't a lot of those around at the time. They've really, you know, you've seen the proliferation of the sports management major throughout all colleges, I think, offer now. But when I was going to school and, you know, high school, I graduated high school in '89, there were not a lot of sports management majors.
Did you think you wanted to go into sports management at that time?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow, you really did have a bug from a young age.
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, again, I wouldn't really succeed at things that I didn't have a passion for. So, you know, passion is where it starts.
Why do you think that is?
I was disinterested.
Why do you think that the passion is where it starts?
Well, if you don't have that, it's really hard to get through the tough times, you know, to persevere through the obstacles and to overcome, you know, all the things that are going to be thrown in your path to
Right.
success.
So you realized that's what you wanted to study, but there were no programs, so what did you do?
Well, there were a few different programs, and I found one at Towson State University in Maryland. And I had some friends that had gone there and had good things to say about it. So I started at Towson, and it wasn't until my sophomore year I was home for the summer, and I was taking a class to try and get ahead. Accounting was a tough one for me, so I wanted to make it as short a period as possible to be in that class, so I was taking it at St. John's.
Yeah.
And I saw in there sports management. It was inside what is now Carnesecca Arena, but was Alumni Hall at the time. And they had a list of all their internships, and it was the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, Jets, Giants, Knicks. I couldn't believe the internships they were listing. And I went and spoke to the dean at the time, a gentleman named Bernie Beglane. and asked him about those internships, and talked to him ultimately about transferring, and wound up transferring to St. John's.
We did.
And got my degree from St. John's in sports management. He helped me get an internship with the NFL.
Oh, that's cool.
And after my internship, I got hired by the NFL on a full-time basis, and I stayed there for 7 years.
Oh, wow. So you really did follow that path the whole time. That's really a love of a trade. What did you do at the NFL?
I worked in, I worked myself up from the mailroom really as an intern, and worked as a public relations intern as well, and then was hired in communications and government affairs, and wound up doing a lot of credentialing, a lot of different PR work, and ultimately wound up working 6 NFL drafts, 3 Super Bowls, and 2 championship games.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How did that feel when you got that first letter that, like, you've got a job, or the phone call? What did that feel like when you got that offer? I mean, even though you started in the mailroom.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment that you're very proud of. But I've always been taught to keep a stiff upper lip and make sure that you understand that the next thing you do is the most important, not to look back on the things that you've achieved. So
right.
I was happy about it, but I knew that now there's a lot more wood to chop.
Why, you were with the NFL for 7 years, you didn't see more of a future for yourself there? Or you didn't see another place where you could go?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was in a department with 22 people, and I was really ultimately interested in running my own PR department for an NFL team. I thought at the time that's where I wanted to end up. And I was noticing that many of the people who were getting those opportunities had run a department, whether it was minor or major league, of their own before. So I said, I need to differentiate my resume a little and see if there's an opportunity for me to run my own PR department. And the Ducks I was aware of, again, grew up on Long Island. I was living in Manhattan at the time and working at the NFL commissioner's office in the city. And I saw that the Ducks, their general manager had left, and the person who was their director of communications running their PR department became their general manager. So I applied for the open position of director of communications and was hired. And I thought at the time, I'll be here for a year, maybe 2, and prove that I can run my own department, and then get that NFL, head job for a club. And I wound up falling in love with it. I mean, it was really everything that you want sports to be. It was about community. It was about the hometown team. You had great stories. You had fans that were passionate. You had ownership that cared, that were fully vested in it. A staff of people that are so passionate and desirous of putting out a good product, and you have a product that you're proud of. You have a really good value that you're providing to people that come out. You can meet every promise that you ever make, and that was important. And I thought, I really enjoyed being here, and I had a lot of success there early on. I was promoted to assistant general manager 2 years after I got to the Ducks, and then the general manager left the club, and they promoted me to general manager.
That's really cool. Going back just a little bit to the NFL, you must have some great stories. Can you share some of those stories that kind of like how it maybe helped you, or how it hindered you, or maybe, like a challenge? Like, there must have been a lot of amazing stories at that place.
Sure. I mean, the thing as a fan growing up, when you walk in and you go, man, I don't know if is this the career for me? I feel like it is. And then the elevator door opens up and it's Don Shula, and you're like, this is amazing. Like Don Shula's in the elevator, and you have to keep your cool and hit the floor you're going to, and make sure that,
How do you hold yourself back from, like, saying something?
I just did. You have to be a professional. So it's really one of those things where it's exciting as a kid when you're 22 or 23 years old, and you say, yeah, this is the right place. This is where I want to be. And there's this great entrance to the league office where they had the Super Bowl trophy in this glass encased frame, and they had every Super Bowl ring from the first Super Bowl on. and they had the NFL Films music piping in
Yeah.
and the highlights being played, and you go, what a lobby, man. How do you beat that lobby, right? It's like the coolest thing ever, and you walk into work every day and see that.
Yeah, I don't know whether it would be like I'd be in awe or I'd feel intimidated by that whole legacy.
Yeah. Well, it's a great product. It's still, you know, the number one, what is it, the top 50 shows, 45 were NFL games this
Yeah.
year. So as much as people like to write the obit, that thing is
Right.
still humming along.
So, okay, so you move on, you see this opportunity, you get into the Ducks. I can only imagine with the size of the NFL, going to the Ducks was almost like a DIY job. Am I right?
It was smaller, and there were a lot of things that we did at the Ducks that, you know, you wouldn't really have to do with the at the NFL. But I also worked game operations for the championship game and Super Bowl. And, you know, one of the things that I remember having to do going down to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, where I had some of those vignettes, was, you know, setting up the entire office. You know, so a box of fax machines at the time were kind of the thing, and copiers and printers and everything come in, and you're kind of directing traffic and setting up desks and hooking up computers. So, you know, doing it yourself was something that I had to do from the time I was an intern, and
Right.
got a lot of great learning experiences. So by the time I got to the Ducks, you know, there's no job that's, you know, I'll still clean bathrooms. I'll
Right.
still clean the ballpark between double headers. I mean, if you think that there's a job that's beneath you, you're in the wrong business.
And that's part of the passion.
Absolutely.
Is that
yeah.
you'll do anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You will do anything to be part of whatever it is and to keep moving ahead and learning.
Sure.
What are some of the things that you were able to bring from the NFL to the Ducks?
Sure. Well, you know, off from the start, you know, there were some things that, you know, just like very basic things that you saw that we had the capabilities of doing that we didn't do. They'd never had a media guide before. You know, their yearbook was kind of more of a newspaper kind of, you know, a lower quality. A lot of the broadcasting and things we tried to bring to the next level. One of the things that we did, we were one of the first teams to live stream games with the Internet Broadcast Network. That goes back to, you know, 2006 or 7. So, you know, it was trying to bring everything up to the level that, you know, I'd seen at the NFL, if it was possible. All things are dictated by budget, but, you know, certainly trying to make everything as first class as possible.
Right. That first day that you went from the NFL to the Ducks, it hadn't been, I'm not going to say like a culture shock, but it had to be like, whoa, this is different. It's kind of like going to JFK versus going to MacArthur. You know, JFK, there's...
I like MacArthur.
It's awesome. It's almost like you're like in a scene in Casablanca. I mean, you basically walk on the tarmac to go to the plane.
Well, you know, if you're an Islip, not to get sidetracked, but if,
That's
if
okay,
you're an
I like
Islip
sidetrack.
Town resident,
Yeah.
and you get that parking sticker, like I live in Sayville, so I drive 10 minutes to MacArthur, hop on a plane, and leave
Yeah.
my car there. There's no bill. I come back out, get my car, drive
And
home
go.
10 minutes. It's,
Yeah.
You can't beat it. And you know what they're charging to drive you to JFK nowadays is
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot. So
Yeah.
I like
I-
MacArthur.
I actually...
Islip Town residents, get your sticker.
So do you fly Southwest a lot?
Southwest Frontier.
Yeah.
Anybody that will take me to Fort Myers.
Oh, gotcha. Do you go to Fort Myers for business?
I have family in Naples, so.
Oh, okay. So the Ducks only, like, where do they do spring training? Just here?
You know, we used to spring train in Florida, but we spring train in Long Island now, and there are a lot of advantages to that. And we were seeing, you know, baseball players by and large chase the sun, so they'll be playing, you know, right now they're down in spring training in Florida. They spend the winter months playing in, you know, the Caribbean winter leagues, whether it's Dominican, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and then they come here during the summer months when spring training breaks, and they go to the, you know, Northeast states.
So let me see if I understand this. Do they play as free agents all year long, or do they play for the Ducks all year long in other places?
They play as free agents when they're playing, you know, if you think of it this way, if you're an Atlantic League player playing for the Ducks, you're basically a playing free agent. It's
Okay.
a one-year free agent contract that lasts the course of the season. And we've had many of our contracts purchased by Major League Baseball. We have a signed agreement with Major League Baseball that stipulates how contract transactions are supposed to occur, so it's a very clean process. And you know, we've sold over 1,000 contracts as a league. We've had a lot of great stories, a lot of players who have utilized the league as a showcase to get a better opportunity, whether that's in Major League Baseball, overseas, or in the Caribbean.
I would think that if you're going to play for the Ducks, you have to really love baseball, because you're not getting paid, Mariana Rivera salary. You're not getting paid, some of these salaries. You have to really love the game, which actually I think makes the games more exciting.
I think all professional baseball players love baseball and compete to win and, put their best out there. Players don't sign in the Atlantic League for the salary. They don't play minor league baseball for the salary affiliated because it's very similar.
Right.
But, they're there for the opportunity to do the things like, Manny Machado just signed a $300 million contract. That's a pretty good deal, and I think that when we look at some of the best stories the Atlantic League's been able to produce, we look at guys like Rich Hill, who pitched for the Ducks, got signed by the Boston Red Sox, signed with the Oakland A's. He's made $60 million since he left Long Island. And, if he decided not to come to Long Island and to just retire, how much would he have missed? He wouldn't have been on the last 2 World Series Dodger teams. He wouldn't have made the $60 million he made.
Right.
But he decided that I'm going to go there. I'm going to prove I can still pitch. He bet on himself, and yes, loved the game. He was also a fantastic guy, and couldn't be happier for somebody like that.
That must be also something that's a great feeling for you, to see your players get picked up by MLB, and then a guy like that to make $60 million. That must be like, yeah, I was part of that.
Yeah, we were all very proud. I mean, it's a great moment for the Atlantic League. It's a great moment for the Ducks. I remember personally, getting the phone call from his agent, and that's something, those are relationships that are built through trust over time. And, Rich could have signed with other teams in the Atlantic League, but we were the team that his agent trusted and called and said, I've had players that have gone to you before and have spoken highly of the experience, and, I trust you to handle Rich the right way, and would you give him an opportunity? So it's great for the league, great for the team. It's gratifying personally, but, that's secondary, honestly, to what it does for, obviously, the team and the league.
Cliff, I have a question.
Sure.
It's from Richard Pulsinetti. As someone who doesn't follow minor league baseball very much, what percentage of players are very young, meaning recently drafted, and what percentage are players on the tail end of their career?
So I guess the best way to answer that is that Richard.
Yeah,
for Richard is so minor league baseball. What most people are used to hearing in minor league baseball is classifications of a major league organization. So single A, double A, triple A. Those are all classifications inside of a major league club. What the Atlantic League is open classification. So we can sign players that have major league experience, triple A experience, double A, or single A. So we trend a little bit more of a veteran league. You'll see, I think right now we have 6 or 7 players signed. Each one of them has major league or triple A experience.
Gotcha.
So you'll see that it's a much more veteran league. There are other independent leagues that trend younger, leagues like the Frontier League. But you're seeing at least affiliated minor leagues. I think Major League Baseball is looking for players to accelerate their growth more quickly and to get to the majors faster and prove that the investment was a wise one. And you are seeing a younger skew in that demographic.
It must be very difficult to pick a player. And I'm sure that you're part of the process.
Sure.
How do you determine, even if a guy does well when you see him, you see some films or whatever they are, you're still not assured that that guy's the right guy. I mean, it's kind of like when you go to check out colleges, right? You go to 7 or 8 or 9 different colleges. Do you really know if that college is the right college when you picked? How do you know? And you probably have
nobody knows.
And you have a good track record, obviously.
Yeah. Nobody knows with 100% surety, but you do rely on the best data that you can get. You talk to the agents that you trust. You talk to coaches that, baseball, there are a lot of players, but it's a small world. And somewhere along the line, someone who has played 10 to 12 years professionally has run across a coach or a manager or a teammate that we know and trust and we can call and get some insight on. But it's not an exact science, and not everybody that you sign is going to be perfect. And sometimes you sign somebody with not great expectations, and they wind up performing, way above what you thought. So
Right.
it's a mixed bag, but we have done well in that area.
Do you ever sometimes see somebody who maybe he's not so good, but you see some kind of potential in him, and you can go, oh, he'd actually be really good at that, and you kind of bring that out of him?
Well, and as a professional baseball player, there really isn't anybody who's not that good. These are great baseball players. When you think about it, I should have brought I have this chart that says, how many people start out in Little League,
Yeah.
and then who goes to high school, and how many of them go to college, and how
Yeah.
many get drafted by a major league club. And it is such a small number, an infinitesimal percentage of the people that start out playing. These are very talented players, and the difference between a player who only advances to AA and someone who enjoys a 10-year career at the major league level, I mean, so many times it's luck. It's, did the GM that drafted you get fired? Did the manager that liked you, that got the most out of you, get moved somewhere else?
Right.
Did you get injured at the wrong time? Did you get the support you needed at
That's
the right
interesting.
time? I mean, it's got to be so frustrating for some of these players that, they have 7, 8, 9 years of AAA time, and they're as good as many players who have enjoyed 7, 8, 9 years at
Sure.
the big league level. It's just, did they get the opportunity at the
Right.
right time? Did they get cast in the right light? Did the GM stay at the team that, who drafted him? It's tough for those players.
So speaking of that, that's perseverance. I want to talk about your perseverance. I mean, you had to really persevere to get where you're going. Tell me how you handled challenges and got through it. Describe some of that to me.
Well, I think that that there are challenges every day, and it's a matter of attitude and understanding that there are going to be challenges no matter what profession you pick, no matter what field you're in, and you're going to have to overcome them. So for me, I don't really perceive these things that get thrown in our way as obstacles, but they just make the day more interesting. I mean, we're going to be faced with some things that every day will give us more good stories, and we've got a lot of them.
Yeah, when I ran my business, I tried very hard not to look at every day, but I looked at a month and a quarter, because you really can't make a decision based upon a bad day. A bad day is just a bad day.
Sure.
That's partially how I got through tough times, by thinking about, well, this is something that happened bad today, but not necessarily is going to happen tomorrow or the next day. Tell me about some of the failures that you've had. I mean, you've had to have some failures, and then how did you overcome those?
Well,
And you can even tell me some stories if you like.
yeah, I mean, we are in the business of failure. In baseball, the most successful batter, makes out 7 out of 10 times.
Right.
You hit 300, you go to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
But we're really, from a business perspective, in the sales arena, and we were talking before about what a key role sponsorship and marketing plays in the overall operation of the Ducks. And we hear no on a very regular basis. We call every company on Long Island. If we haven't called you, please reach out to us. But we'd love to talk to you. And getting them involved with the Ducks, whether it's on a marketing or hospitality level, utilizing the ballpark for outside events. We want to make everybody enjoy the ballpark as much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
And we're confident that if they come out, they're going to have a fantastic experience. But we hear no an awful lot every day. So dealing with rejection, not everybody is great with, but to us, turning those no's into yeses over time is really as gratifying an experience as you can get.
How do you turn no's into yeses?
I think that you have to earn trust and build relationships. And many times in our business, it can be as simple as asking someone who says no to come out to a ball game, or to listen. To me, the most important tool is listening. And if we're sitting down, I want to hear the things that interest you, the things that excite you, the things that are challenges to you, because I want to remember them and hopefully give you a call when it's something important to you, like your birthday, and ask you to come out to the ball game and maybe put your name up on the board, or give you a special goodie bag and let you know that you're special.
Right.
Because I think those are the things that are most likely to turn no's into yeses, when people feel like they're important. And
Right.
there's a lot of people that reach out to everybody in business every day. They get calls from everybody. How do you separate yourself? That's the key.
Right. So I would say, in separating yourself, I mean, on Long Island itself, is that difficult for a team like the Ducks? I mean, you're kind of unique. I mean, yeah, the Mets are in Queens and the Yankees are in the Bronx, you guys are almost like you're your own island.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's really about making sure the product's a good product, right? And making sure that you can deliver on your promises. You know, we're clean, safe, affordable, fan-friendly, family-friendly. And if we deliver on those promises, then, you know, people come out to the ballpark and,
Right.
and they want to be involved in it.
I've read that you've been the party of selling out over 680 games
Yes.
in your tenure there.
The Ducks' all-time history, I've been there 17 of the 19 years. So
That's
they had a few sellouts
incredible.
before I got there.
Right. They did sell out before you got
Sure,
there?
yeah. Ducks had a great, have been wonderful since day one.
Right. That's really awesome. Let's drill down a little bit because I'm hearing stuff, but I want to drill down more. What makes it that great experience? Why do people come back?
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. You know, we go out there every night and we're thinking about ways to bring the crowd into it. So you can come into the ballpark and sign up to be part of the on-field promotions. You can sit and just watch people in the on-field promotions. You could see a major league player that you may have paid $250 for a nosebleed seat to see a few years ago. You're paying $10 to sit up close to.
Right.
You know, close enough that you could smell the grass, shout his name, and see him turn around and wave to you. I mean, it's a really unique experience. We do it with easy access, free parking. No place has free parking anymore. We still offer free parking. So it's easy in, easy out. We're centrally located, so we're between, you know, the 4 major roadways on
Yep.
Long Island. And, you know, so no matter where you're coming from, we're almost always 20 minutes away.
Right. So you're fairly close.
We're close to everybody, yeah.
The one thing that I noticed about Duck games is the interactive experience. Was that your idea? Whose idea was that? Because the audience feels like they're part of the experience. That's what I don't know. Am I correct?
What was your favorite part of it, specifically?
I know mine.
Go ahead.
I don't know if they still do it, but we got yellow duckbill whistles.
Quackers.
Yeah.
I hate those things.
Had the best time with that.
I think I'm going to go postal if I
I
hear one
had
of
the
those.
best time with that thing. I mean, it. You know what? It as whatever. But that night that I was there, I was probably with 6 friends, and everybody. I mean, you could probably hear us in Montauk. Like, we had so much fun with those things, but it made it a lot of fun.
Sure.
You know what? It made the game very to watch. It made it very relaxed. And it
Absolutely.
relaxed you, and you had fun, and you didn't think about anything else but what was going on, and that's my probably greatest memory.
I had to throw like several of them out. My girls were just going crazy in the house with it.
That's the
I
genius of
loved
the
it.
quacker, by the way.
I was
Yeah.
like, this is so annoying, but yeah, no, the whole.
And then the next time you came, you had to buy them again, right?
I've been there. The game experience
Recurring
is-
revenue.
is
That's
amazing
right.
there.
That's right.
I've been there a few times. Like I've been there like 4 or 5 times.
Awesome.
Every time I love going there. It's just the whole experience. Like
Because it's so easy.
It's relaxed.
That's what it-
It's a very
It's not like
relaxed
going
atmosphere.
to the Bronx and first you got to find a
You
spot.
know what you're not
and then-
thinking of? Traffic,
Right.
expense.
Right.
You're thinking of this is fun.
Easy
I'm
in and
having,
easy out.
Right. It's easy. It's easy to get there. It's not costing me a fortune. I can take my family out, and
Yeah.
so it makes the whole experience
Yeah.
just very
did
relaxing.
you ever watch the fireworks show there?
No.
Oh, they're amazing.
I go there a lot.
Oh, that I haven't seen.
And the fire. I don't know who you guys hired for that.
Yes.
That thing is awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us about the fireworks.
That was awesome.
So the fireworks shows are our most popular promotion,
Yeah.
and we're very fortunate with the way the ballpark is situated, where we have, you know, some space behind our outfield wall, so that the fireworks show is literally right above the crowd as we, at a safe distance, of course.
We have to do that.
So it is something where we work with Garden State Fireworks. They do a tremendous job. We worked with Grucci for a very long time as well, but we currently work with Garden State, and they just do a great job. You know, we really work a lot at pounding more value back into the ticket,
Yeah.
and that's part of it. So we don't charge additional for fireworks nights. It's the same price as, you know, Tuesday night. We do fireworks every Saturday, and we'll also be having fireworks each night the week of July 4th. So it'll be a great place to be, 4th of July week. And we'll have several other fireworks shows on special events this year too. 20 in all. It is our 20th season, so we'll be having 20 fireworks shows this
Wow,
year.
that's cool.
20 years?
Yeah.
I can't
Oh, I
believe
just
that.
aged myself.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
know, that's
Long
the
time.
key is you know, making sure that, you know, people receive a good value, and you know, it's high quality entertainment for, an affordable price,
Right.
and you want to keep people coming back.
You know, for me, you asked me the question, Lori rudely interrupted me. But you asked me the question, what's my favorite part? No, I'm actually glad you interrupted. I don't want to have to pay for this later. Believe it or not, I'm not a big baseball fan. But I love sitting in the ballpark on a nice sunny afternoon or a nice summer evening and just watching the game with a hot dog and a beer. And to me, that's just very relaxing. And while I go to Citi Field, and I have been to a bunch of Yankee games, the ease of going to your stadium is just, to me, it's just easy. It's like park, walk in.
So many fans say the same thing. They're casual fans, and they just love being at the ballpark, and the environment, the atmosphere is one that is relaxing, is one where they feel like they're in their space, and that's the way we want it to feel. We want it to feel like their ballpark, and it's the hometown team.
Yeah.
And we represent all of Long Island. We're not the Islip Ducks or the Suffolk Ducks, or
Right.
we're the Long Island Ducks. So we draw from east, west, north, south, and it is Long Island's
Right.
team. So we want people to feel at home like that.
You know what else I noticed? Just going back my memory, it's very clean.
Thank you.
It's very, very clean there. And I actually remember thinking, it's very clean here for,
Thank you.
A stadium. I was like, wow, it was nice. I had a great experience, but I remembered it being very clean.
It's a huge focus of ours.
Yeah.
Safety and cleanliness
Yep.
are two things
Yeah.
that
Well,
are
it must be
non-negotiable.
daunting to keep that place clean. It's humongous, but I remember saying, wow, this place was spotless.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I was going to say something. Now I forget what it was.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Whoops.
That's okay. We'll figure something out to say. You had an opportunity. It came back. I know I'm old, but it came back.
I'm impressed.
You're at the NFL. You probably could have gone anywhere from there. And you chose the Ducks, and you stayed. You're like that guy from It's a Wonderful Life. What was his name? The guy in It's a Wonderful Life. What's
I'm
it?
drawing the blank right now.
Okay, you're getting old too. But you chose to stay, and you've been there like 18 years. I mean, you could have been like running, by this point, you probably could have been running some gigantic team at this point. Matter of fact, there's a job opening it might be a job opening up in New England soon.
Okay.
How big is the organization right
In terms of staff,
now? Yeah, the whole
so we have a 15-person front office staff that works year-round, and then we grow to 250 part-time employees during the course of the season.
Why did you choose to stay?
Well, I love Long Island. I love the people that work for the Ducks. The ownership of the Ducks is very strong. Frank Bolton and Bud Harrelson, launched the Ducks. Frank has been a bit of a mentor to me and somebody that has really taught me a tremendous amount. Great person to work for. Both Frank and Bud, they really show you how to do things the right way. To me, it's an honor that we get to continue on that legacy of being part of the community and delivering a quality product and operating it the way that they've showed us how to.
And you give back to the community too, I noticed. As a matter of fact, we have a clip. Maybe, Frank, you want to bring up that clip of their community outreach? We could talk about that for a minute.
There's Good Samaritan Hospital right there.
What's that?
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the clip.
We're always
done audio on this?
welcoming the Ducks anytime that they
On
want to come, but
Valentine's.
certainly on days like today, it makes it special for the pediatric patients and their families that they are remembered.
It is great having the Ducks here because they really spruce up the activity schedule for our hospital, and I am thrilled to be joined by Quacker Jack. He is so much fun. He brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm to the group.
We put a little cheer in their face and a smile on their face and good spirits, so it brings a special feeling to my heart, and we just hope that they get out of here soon.
To have an opportunity to give back, it's really special. I've had a chance to come to these hospital visits before, and I really enjoy giving back to the community that's given me so much.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to all the fans, Duck fans out there, and looking forward to a great 2018 season.
I'd like to wish everyone out there a happy Valentine's Day. We're looking forward to being out at the ballpark and can't wait. Let's go Ducks!
It's awesome.
It's really awesome. And I mean, I know that it's PR and you're in business, but by the same token, you're really participating in the community. And that's not the only thing I've seen you do. the organization.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's other things that you go out into the community. There was Bring Your Duck to Work Day.
Yeah, and Take a Duck to Class.
Yeah, Take a Duck to Class. That's
Yeah,
what it was.
Sure.
Like a
It's
writing
great
essay
program.
or something?
Yeah. Kids were in elementary school were charged with writing an essay on a few different topics. One was why community is important to them. Another was to describe a hero in their community.
Yeah.
And the winning essay had Quacker Jack visit their class. We picked 4 winners, visited 4 schools. It's a lot of fun, you know. The Quacker Jack is really the star of the show. If you ever want to, you know, get a boost in your ego, you stand next to Quacker Jack on a parade float and watch people scream at you. So.
I actually was watching, and I was going to bring that clip in, and then I couldn't find it. Quacker Jack was dancing to Tom Jones.
Which song?
It's not unusual.
Oh, that would be very fun.
And I
Yeah.
was going to bring that up, and
That's
I lost the clip, and I couldn't shoot it over.
He's
It's funny.
awesome. I mean, you know, it's nice to have a mascot that is so beloved, and he's won Best of Long Island, I think 8 years in a row now.
Really?
Best
Oh,
mascot
that's
on Long
awesome.
Island, so he is definitely the star of the show.
Yeah, it's really
How
cool.
did the Ducks get the name the Ducks?
So the Ducks were a minor league hockey team
In the
in the 50s and 60s. I think they were from the 50s to 1973. And I believe the Islanders were going to originally be called the Ducks before they took the name the Islanders. And when Frank Bolton founded the team, he had grown up going to Long Island Ducks games at Comac Arena and decided to name the team the Ducks.
It worked,
Yeah.
and it stuck.
Remember the Long Island Arena? Hello,
I
that's
do remember the Long Island Arena.
a long time ago.
Yeah. Mike, do you have any more questions?
Questions. So you've been there 17 years, and that you kind of have you moved up? I mean, obviously you moved up to now you're president. What's the biggest challenges now for you? Like, what keeps you going? And then that's what I'm curious about.
So,
Sure.
so
At this
in
point-
case
at this point in your life.
So in case people didn't hear that, Mike asked, you've reached the pinnacle at the Ducks. Where do you go from here, and what keeps you going?
Well, I think the biggest challenges for us are responding to the changes in things like cost of goods and labor, and as things continue to rise, and keeping the affordability of the product, because it's such a base part of what we offer. And if we raise our prices accordingly, the price of chicken goes up 40%. You can't raise the price of a chicken sandwich 40%. People will say, "This is the Ducks.
Yeah,
why are you
right.
charging me these prices?" So, maintaining affordability has really been to us the biggest challenge. Keeping the lightning in the bottle, keeping it fresh, keeping it exciting, doing new things. It's a great piece of steak, but it's also got to sizzle a little bit. So, people want to see new fun promotions. To that end, we do have a lot of new promotions that'll be out this year.
Can you tell us about any
Not
of
at
them?
liberty to discuss all of them at this
Don't
point.
let him out of here.
But
Hold him down.
we do have a new manager this year as well,
Yes.
in Wally Backman,
Yeah,
former Met.
Frank, can you give us a little Wally Backman baseball action here?
1986 World Series champion Wally Backman.
Isn't he up for being manager for the Mets or in discussion? I thought I heard
Yeah,
that on the
yeah,
phone.
he's been a manager for a long time. He managed his way through the Mets system to the AAA level. He was there for 4 years. He was under consideration for the job, and now he's the manager of the Ducks. So we're excited to have him. Ed Lynch will be his pitching coach, new coach of the Ducks, and Ed was on the '86 Mets as well.
That's really cool.
He got interestingly enough, he got traded right before the team won the World Series, and he said it's like being part of a family and getting kicked out on Christmas Eve, something to that effect.
Really?
So, but he did get a World Series ring, so Ed didn't leave ringless. He didn't
Oh,
leave
that's
without a
good to
gift.
know.
It's like being the alternate
Now, do you guys ever offer walk-on open tryouts? Like, who's that guy who did that football movie?
Rudy,
Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy.
Yeah.
Do you often open? Do you open tryouts? to the
absolutely,
public?
yeah.
You do?
So
You
we're
do?
going to have tryouts this year on Saturday, April 13th, and you're welcome to come out, Mike. So get ready. And last year we had a great open tryout. We had 70 people come out to the ballpark approximately, sign up for the tryout, and we had 7 players from that tryout signed to pro contracts, 5 with the Ducks, 2 with another team in the league. one of the players that got signed by the Ducks
Yeah.
wound up getting signed by the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Really?
So yeah,
Wow.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
yeah.
Do they use an agent or they go through themselves?
We should get him.
They come out themselves.
Wow.
You know, it was interesting because he was one of those people that he called me the night before the tryout. His name is Jason Creasy, and he said, "I just want to ask you if coming to this tryout is going to be a waste of my time." And I said, "You know, I can't answer that question. If you come out and throw well, it will not be a waste of your time."
Right.
And he said, "I just want to know because I'm driving 9 hours to get there." So you talk about passion and dedication and
that's passion.
perseverance.
Yeah.
You know, so Jason drove 9 hours, tried out. He hit 94 on the radar gun, had good control. We signed him, and he built up over the course of the season to where he was throwing 97, 98 miles an hour, and the Arizona Diamondbacks signed him. So it was really a great story and one that
How old is he?
27, 28.
Okay.
So, you know, great story, and
Yeah, it's a great story.
hope Jason Creasy has
Yeah.
another great season this year.
You know what I like about you is the fact that your career, you've done very well in your career, but also you're doing something good for yourself, but you're also providing something really valuable for the community. And I think that's so important that we all do that we all help, whether you're going to do it because you're a volunteer, but because it's your career, that we all, in a certain way, are giving back to the community, and you're mixing your career and giving back to the community at the same time.
Well, that's part of the draw of the Ducks. You know, you ask why you stay there and things of that nature. I mean, that's part of why you love an organization like that, because it
Yeah.
is part of the fabric of the community. You feel good about being a part of it. You know, it's easy to be passionate about something that does so much good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I don't think we have any more questions. Lori Kay, do you have any more questions?
No, I think I'm good.
Frank J. Parisi,
I don't think so.
you awake? Well, we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
I really hope that you come back. Like, we'd like to have you back again
Awesome.
to talk. As a matter of fact, next week we're having our anniversary show. It actually got canceled because of the bad weather a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And we're having on our first guests who we ever had on
Awesome,
the show, and
awesome.
we're going to go make fun of ourselves.
What anniversary is this for you?
It's our first year anniversary. We've done 30 some odd shows.
Awesome.
We haven't done.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Appreciate that. How many games have you been there for?
This will be, so let's see, 16. It's got to be at least,
About 1,000?
that's over 1,000, yeah.
Right, because it's 70 games a season home.
70 games a season, 16 seasons. So.
Right. Wow. That's 420 and 700.
Why would you?
That's 11. I can tell you, it's 1,120 games.
Well, there you
Pretty
go.
good.
Yeah. Well, because I come from a different era.
See, I knew over 1,000. I mean,
Yeah. But you did it. But anyway, I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks
Please
for
come
having me.
back. Yeah, it was great. And, you know, I forgot to tell everybody that we're actually at the stadium, right? Don't we look like we're just like
Sitting
at the stadium?
It's a beautiful day at the stadium.
It is a beautiful day. I wanted to do the night game, and you had convinced me to do the day game.
Well, because I thought it looked better and I liked the logo in the background.
grass looks awesome. Nice job with that.
It does.
I popped up the contrast, and I popped up the
I
saturation a
need the
little
name
bit.
of the landscape.
Looks fantastic.
I want mine ones to look like that, too.
The lines always straight, or they go?
No, that's a pattern, so it depends the way the grounds crew mows it.
It's pretty cool. It looks great.
Pretty cool.
And you're right, Lori, the stadium's always clean. It's easy to
It's
get in.
spotless. It's
Yeah,
spotless.
it really is.
There's no stress going to a Ducks game.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Well, come out to a ball game this year.
We're going
We'd
to.
love to have you.
Yeah, oh, definitely want
We're
to go.
going to come out. I
Yeah.
think I'd like to come out more than once. You know why? Because it's so easy.
It is easy.
You know, I like going to Shea. I mean, to City Field. I like going.
Yeah, but you have to leave 3 hours before the game.
That's 100
It's an
times the
hour to
price.
get in there. Yes, and it's not that clean.
I mean, when I used to take my family to a Yankees game, what was it like for the day? Like $1,000 after everything's
That's
said and done?
expensive.
Yeah.
Right? Now it's like $10 a person. Okay, come on out, Jacob. Jacob, if you can hear this, get Jamie. Come on out. It's $10. It's my daughter and her boyfriend.
Awesome.
So, but anyway, so yeah, please come back, and I'd love to continue the conversation with you. Next week we have on Maria and Diane from Daigo Design. They're going to be here to celebrate our 1-year anniversary show. No, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. We actually have on Barry Lights. Barry Lights, they're the week after. They're the 12th. Next week is Barry Lights, who is an attorney in town. He's got a pretty interesting story. The week after are Diane and Maria. Sorry about that. And then later tonight we have on Beyond the Game with Corey and Mike Winkoff. I don't know if you knew that, Lori.
I do.
but Corey and Mike are going to be here talking all about lacrosse. Manhasset's a big lacrosse team.
Absolutely.
Big lacrosse. Actually, I had a friend who went to Johns Hopkins on scholarship from Manhasset.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, but anyway, thank you very much. Thank you, Mike Innamorato, for coming in here and being our
My
special
name is out there. Wow.
our special guest. I hope you come back. And I think, you know, if you want to come back, we're going to mic you up.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Look out for our live streams and other clips that we'll be doing on all the different social media platforms. And Frank, we're going to see them next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, see you next week.